And I will open up House Bill 5183 again from our own representative. Let me get to the bill here. Sam Azzinaro, Representative Sam Azzinaro. And this is entitled as an act relating to motor vehicles and other registration vehicles. And this creates a special motor vehicle registration plates for nonprofit entities from the Rhode Island Fire Chiefs and Honor Flight Club. And I think we have somebody here who wants to speak on that too. But Sam, you have the floor.
Thank you. Again, I talked with Bud Craddock today about this particular bill, and he said because this is a nonprofit entity, this would not be a problem for this license plate. So that's pretty much all I can tell you about it. He didn't feel that there would be, for whatever reason, a cost. That's why I hope he calls in, because he can explain it a lot better than I can as to why this would not be a cost, would not be a cost like the other license plate. But if someone is calling in, maybe it is Director Bud Craddock.
May I interrupt you? I just was told by our clerk, and Bud Craddock was on the line, so I did not know that. So I'm wondering if it's okay if I have everybody's consensus and you can just raise your hand if we can open the hearing on House Bill 5182 and go back up. That's okay if I can have a raise of hands, so you don't have to do a roll call. Everybody okay with that? Yes? You okay with that? Yeah. Okay. So we will just reopen House Bill 5182, and if Mr. Craddock is on the line, and he can talk about that bill, and we can we'll talk about the next bill too. Mr. Craddock?
Yes.
Can everybody hear?
Hello?
Go right ahead.
All right. Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I've been monitoring this, and Chairman Azzinaro is correct. On the first one, on 5182, we did talk about while we referred to it as a sticker, I thought of it as what we could do is use the military emblem that they use for their the ribbons that they wear on their chest. That would be the same that is relevant to the Bronze Star. And the beauty of doing that as opposed to a plate, keep in mind that some of the veterans have different veteran plate designations. Some have a Purple Heart, and they also could be awarded the Bronze Star. And this, they could put the military ribbon on the Purple Heart plate as long as it's authorized in legislation by you folks. Could be put on the regular veteran plate, and it also could be put on the disabled veteran plate. And the beauty of putting the military ribbon, we could also designate several other distinguished awards like a Silver Star or some of the other medals that have been awarded to some of our veterans, so that we could put probably up to 2 or 3 different ribbons to bring them a little bit of honor for the awards that they've won. In addition, as he said, you do have to buy the material in sets of 600, and if only 200 or 300 had it, could we still make the plates? Absolutely, if that's what the legislature wanted. But I think it gives us more flexibility to be able to put the actual colored ribbon so we can put more than one designation on a plate.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Craddock? Representative Lombardi.
How are you, Mr. Craddock? Do you know how many there are in the state of Rhode Island?
I have no idea. That would probably be a question for Veterans Affairs. Again, one of the issues, if we were to make the plates, while you say the cost is de minimis, it really is in the overall scheme of things. But my major concern right now is to develop a plate. It takes about 180 hours of development work from my IT team. And right now, with the pandemic that's going on, I've been able to divert resources, and they're working on projects now to try to keep people out of the DMV. And if we have to start making some of these different plate designs, then I have to divert resources away from trying to protect people in the course of the pandemic. As an example, since the start of the pandemic, we've gone from 14 online transactions that people can do up to 21. So we've gone up by about 50% on what our customers in the state are able to do online as opposed to having come to the DMV. So we've taken the pandemic and looked at it and used a silver lining of being able to have people learn that they don't have to come to the DMV. Those that do have to come are getting a better experience. And if I have to divert resources, then it moves us a little bit back on the timeline on trying to keep people safe and healthy.
Well, maybe I have a solution for you, Mr. Craddock. Okay? Suppose I would tell you there's a tax-exempt institution that may do the job, that has to do the job for free. Want to try that? And why don't we let Veterans Affairs work with either Johnson and Wales or Rhode Island School of Design? Oftentimes we have that big asset that's tax-exempt, and why not? And we can give a prize. We can recognize them in the governor's room, and we can give them a citation. There's so many nice things we can do. Just a thought, because so often we're spending taxpayer dollars on stuff that we really don't have to when we have a tax-exempt institution that will do it for free in conjunction with Veterans Affairs.
If I could ask, what are you referring to? Do what for free? The design?
The design and anything else you need, that would help. You won't have to divert any time, any people, and you can let them do it.
We wouldn't be doing the design. Where I would be diverting people is from our actual development work in our computer system. There's about 180 hours of development work every time we do a new plate design. So when you do that, we're diverting resources from our IT development. It's not the design itself. That's the minor part of a new plate.
And once again, my question is, why couldn't we use the tax-exempt institutions to work with Veterans Affairs to design and do all the things you're talking about? Just
they could, but they can't go into the DMV computer system.
I'm not saying that, just to do like everything else but that.
But see, Representative, that is the issue. It's the design and checking on the number of veterans. That's the very small. There is almost no cost to that. The $35,000 is the development time in the DMV RIMS computer system.
Okay, so it's two different things. Okay. All right, is your question answered, Representative Lombardi?
I guess.
Yeah, it's just a small piece of it, I guess he's saying, is the design piece that the students could do, which I don't think is a bad thing to bring them in. I think bringing students in is a very, out of the box thinking and have them involved in the state. But that's a small piece,
I just think, Madam Chair, there's so many outlets there, so many good resources out there that can do it and probably do it for free. Do it, and this is like motherhood and apple pie. How could you be opposed to this?
Yes.
That's just my opinion on that. That's all.
Right. Thank you, Representative Lombardi. Representative Ruggiero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Administrator Craddock, I just have a question just from an operational standpoint. I think I heard you say $35,000 with 180 hours of time. That's $194 an hour. Who are we hiring to do this? And 180 hours is like a month and a half to design. It just seems like an awful lot of money at a very high hourly rate and an awful long time to do something that there has to be some kind of a template with all of these plates that we create for nonprofits. Where is he?
I'm right here.
Okay.
All right. Can you hear me, Rep?
I can hear you. I can't see you. Oh, there you are. Thank you.
Okay. All right. The amount of money that we pay, that's the going rate for our technology vendor, Prospecta.
$194 an hour?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's the going rate. That's the contract rate that has been negotiated over the years with them as for maintaining the system. And the 180 hours has nothing to do with the design of the plate. That's all the technology and development in the system with all the testing and with our interface partners like Rylets and Enlets so that the new code, when it's written, can be recognized by law enforcement as they're running plates on the street. This is all the behind the scenes. It's all the bits and bytes in the computer to be able to build a new plate design or type in there. You have to understand that there's a difference between the actual physical plate that's put on the car. That is the smallest piece of the puzzle. The sheeting that goes on there is purchased from 3M. A roll of that is $1,662 for 600 plate sets. That's a small cost. But the $35,000 in the development hours is behind the scenes coding and building it into the computer system so that it's recognized, so it's billed properly, so it's recorded properly, so that when people get their registration and license renewals, that they get it correctly. That's the development time. It has nothing to do with design.
I'm sorry. I understand it's different than the design. I'm just questioning and just curious about 180 hours, which is going to be, over a month to design something. I understand it's the back end of technology and the computer. It just, without having anything to compare it to, and I guess I'd have to talk to a tech person to ask about, is it really, it just seems like a lot of hours. A 40-hour week at 180 would be 4.5 weeks. I mean, over a month. It just seems like a lot of money on man hours.
Yeah, well,
on $194. Just from a fiscal standpoint, that's all. Something to think about. Thank you.
Well, I can tell you from experience, because every time that we get a new plate design, that's the experience. That's what it takes to build this into the system.
Do you have any other questions, Deb?
No, thank you very much.
And I do believe that Representative Norrie, I'm not sure if you were there, Mr. Craddock, last year, discussed this as a police officer and about that whole registration and identifying the plates. I wish he was still on this committee, but last year he did a very good explanation of, I think, about what you're referring to for different cameras and different scans. Like, say, you're going over the Newport Bridge, you have an emblem on there and you have a number, and there could be another car that has the same number with a different emblem. It was kind of causing some problems, so I think that's where what you might be discussing or what you might be referring to. Am I correct?
Well, not really,
okay.
Madam Chair. I think what you're talking about is because we have the issues with the same number sequence across different plate types.
Yes.
And that's where we end up having issues with people getting toll violations for a different vehicle.
This input, I thought, well, you've explained it. I understand. I just thought that was something he was referring to last year. About when we were talking, I think, about this bill almost a year ago. Are there any other questions for Mr. Craddock? No, hearing none. Oh, Representative Benjamin.
Hi. Sorry, Administrator Craddock. Rep. Azzinaro had talked a little bit about earlier about maybe with nonprofits you didn't have to have that same 600 number, and he didn't really quite know why. Could you just kind of talk about, is there any difference between making something like the Bronze Star license plate versus what another bill in front of us for a nonprofit organization would be like? Are there any differences on your end?
None at all. They would both be the same cost, but right now the nonprofit one doesn't start getting built until it meets their 600 level.
Great. Thank you for that clarification.
Okay. So, any other questions on House Bill 5182? No. And so we'll go back to 5183. And Sam, did you want to finish up your thoughts on 513? And Mr. Craddock, are you going to stay on and talk about this bill?
I can stay on.
Okay.
I'm more than happy
I don't know
to.
if you have any input. So, Sam, I'm sorry to have interrupted you. You can continue on House Bill 5183.
Yeah, I would just like Bud Craddock to explain why this one would be somewhat different than the Bronze Star plate. So, Bud, if you could.
Sure. The difference here, the development costs are still going to be the same. What the difference is the cost is offset by the people that are buying the plate. There is a $20 fee that comes to the general fund for each set of plates that is made. So that offsets it, and then there's a recurring registration, whereas with the Bronze Star, it's strictly state funded. And this one here, again, the development costs are going to be the same as for the Bronze Star plate. And as I had mentioned a moment ago, when you buy the sheeting, you have to buy it in the minimum roll you buy is 600. So you have to be able to use that material up. Once you put it on the shelf, there is a shelf life on it, and if there are no other individuals purchasing that plate, then that material can go bad and has to be disposed of.
Right. there any, yeah?
Thank you, Bud, for that clarification. I had forgotten about that issue with the nonprofits where there is money that comes back to the state. $20, I believe, and $20 goes to the nonprofit, something to that effect. But that's what the difference would be.
Yes. Okay, any other questions? Are there any other questions for Sam Azzinaro still? I just lost everybody. Wait a minute, I think I just lost everybody.
We're here.
I can hear you. Can you hear us, Kathy?
I am.
Okay.
I can hear you, but I can't see anybody right now. Okay, I don't know what's happened. But anyway, so I'm glad that you can still hear me.
Madam Chair.
So we do have somebody on the line for also on Sam's bill. So it is George Farrell who wants to speak. He is the founder and chairman of the Rhode Island Fire Chiefs and Honor Flight. Okay, I'm back with you. Chairman of the Honor Flight Hub, and he is in favor of this bill. Anthony, do we have Mr. Farrell?
Hi, this is Mr. Farrell.
Oh, Mr. Farrell, well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. You have the floor, and I know that there was an email sent earlier to all of us that had a PowerPoint presentation. Unfortunately, we can't, with our technology, we can't put it up on the screen here. But if you want to talk about that, we're here to listen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is George Farrell. I am the chairman of the Rhode Island Fire Chiefs Honor Flight Hub. So I actually manage and run the hub for the fire chiefs and run this 501c3. This proposal about this bill came about from a number of people, the other license plates or plates that are out there, specialty plates. And we had a number of people who were interested in supporting our Honor Flight Hub and also maybe having license plates that recognize the work that we do. And where this is different is because not being a veteran, I couldn't get a veteran's plate, but in this case, the general public or the people who've been associated with our Honor Flight Hub, even the veterans could purchase these plates and recognize the Honor Flight Hub at the same time as putting a little bit of revenue into our 501c3 charity for us to continue our mission of taking veterans to Washington, D.C., to visit and reflect at those memorials built to honor their service and sacrifice. And I provided quite a bit, I think, of documentation. I know there was a PowerPoint, but you can kind of flip through that to get an idea of what Honor Flight is all about, what we do, and how we make it work. And I know that Chairman Azzinaro and Rep. Casey, and I know that others, Rep. Fenton Fong has been to the airport to see some of the work that happens in the send-off and welcome home, and how grateful our veterans are for the work that we are doing, taking them on these. Well, there's not really a whole lot to give back for what they've done for us, but for what we do to take them on a trip of a lifetime free of charge.
Okay.
Happy.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm talking to the clerk and running a meeting. So, Mr. Farrell, I think it's a wonderful thing that you've done. I've been to your fundraisers before a couple of years ago down in Narragansett at Pancho O'Malley's. I think you raised a fair amount of money, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. But I'll open up to the committee if anybody has a question for Mr. Farrell. Are there any questions for Mr. Farrell? No? And I want to make sure, I don't see Representative Geraldo. He went off my screen. Oh, do you have a question, Representative?
Yeah, I was just going to say, just ask the person who spoke last, just to get a little bit.
He's off the line. We can't have two people at the same time. I'm sorry, I missed you. I lose somebody once on the screen.
Completely okay. I just wanted to get a better understanding of the breakdown and the reimbursement for the costs that are paid for when someone buys a plate. But that was all. Thank you.
Okay, we can probably get that answer from Mr. Craddock for you. Representative Fung?
Thanks, and George, thanks for your time. You know, this is one of my favorite events. It's the only thing I'll wake up at 4 in the morning for and be completely thrilled. I hope to take all of you here on the committee one time. I'll buy coffee after. It's one of the most inspiring things. My question is, how much money do we actually give to the hub itself with the purchase of these license plates? Do we know? What do we expect to raise?
Well, we would be responsible, I believe, to get 600 plates purchased in advance before the plates would be manufactured. And then I think Mr. Craddock just a little while ago spoke about it, and I think it's on in paragraph G about how the breakdown of dollars would go for payment of the plate and contribution of I think it's $20 to the state of Rhode Island, $20 to our Honor Flight Hub, and then I think at the re-registration with the same plate there would be a $10 fee that would be associated with that would also be allotted to the fire chief's Honor Flight Hub account.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, and we'll be sure to get a plate ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, again, talking to the clerk. So Bud Craddock is on the line. He just can't talk to us at this point. So when we are finished with Mr. Farrell, we can ask Bud Craddock or get his answer to Rep. Geraldo's question. And Sam, Representative Azzinaro, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Chairwoman. I just want to thank George Farrell for everything he does. That flight I had the honor of going on, I believe it was in 2017. And I'll tell you what, if you don't get emotional going through the airport with all of the veterans that are lined up and families that are lined up waving flags and the bagpipes playing, then you have no idea what it's like to go on that flight and to visit the sites. Everything is in regiment order. Off the plane, on a bus, police escort through from Baltimore up through Washington is incredible. And to visit all of the monuments up there, and I tell you, it blows your mind. And everyone that ever went on this thing has said it was the best experience of their life, and I can say that it was for me also. So I want to thank George for his hard work. It's incredible what he does for that one day to get on a plane, as you say, at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning and fly out of Providence and land up in Baltimore, Washington. It's just incredible. And you're back at 10, 11, maybe midnight. And to have 300 or 400 people waiting in the airport, waving their flags, it blows your mind. So I can't thank him enough. If anyone gets the opportunity to go on that flight, they should take it. They'll never forget it.
Absolutely. Representative Azate.
So I want to thank the chairman. I've been in the middle of welcoming an honor flight one time. I don't know, it was in Florida, and it was just so beautiful to see everybody in the shops. They came out, they applaud them. You can see like their faces, they're so happy, and it's such a wonderful thing to see. It really does leave you speechless. I remember crying, and I was like, why am I crying? But it is a really beautiful thing to see. I can see that there's a lot of hard work that goes into just arranging all of that. But it's, you're right, Rep. Azzinaro, to see, to hear the bagpipes, to see the flags, and, everybody just coming out of the flight and how it feels so united. And so it is something really beautiful to see. And I'm really happy I've got to experience it that way.
Thank you. Representative Lombardi. please go, Representative. Yep. Oh, you're on mute, John?
I just want to thank George, I want to thank you. I want to thank George Farrell for everything he does. George and I have been friends for many, many years. He was the fire chief in Providence when I was doing a crazy job there. And it's from his heart. It's really from his heart. And I know I've read about, what he does on this, and it's really a tearjerker. And George, I just want to thank you for your continued support of the community and what you do for the veterans and just what you do in general. Thank you for being my friend, and thank you for being George Farrell.
Very nice.
Well,
Very nice. Any other questions for Mr. Farrell? Mr. Farrell, do you have any last?
No, I'd just like to say, well, thank you very much. Rep. Lombardi and I have been friends for an extremely long time, and I don't think I would have the title of chief before my name if it were for his guidance over the years in my career. And certainly, I just want to make mention that this isn't just George Farrell. It's the Rhode Island Association of Fire Chiefs. We have a group of individuals on our board. We have a medical team that's second to none that flies on every single flight, and it makes this seamless. And more importantly, all of the veterans, whether they be World War II, Korea, Vietnam, or we took an all-women's flight a couple of years ago, all of the veterans, actually the ones who make this possible, had it not been for them, we wouldn't be living in the great country that we do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, Chief.
Representative Casey, did you have a question? Oh, we can't hear you. Steve, you have to unmute. Steve?
Unmute me.
Okay.
How's that?
Much better.
Just want to say hello, George. It's Rep. Casey. I've had the honor of going on 2 honor flights, and I was able to take the first honor flight I went on I was able to take a very good friend who was at the time 81 years old, World War II veteran, and every time thereafter he said, "There's the best guy in the world. I had the best trip of my life." It's absolutely incredible what the Honor Flight Hub has been able to put together and present and give to all of these veterans. I understand we've done at least about 650 Rhode Island veterans at this point, and we always have like major sponsorships, and it's just an unbelievable event. If you do, like Karen said, if you ever just happen to be able to go to an airport and watch the either takeoff or arrival, it's an unbelievable spectacle, and it's truly great to see the veterans and their reactions in their faces, and it's truly a memorable event for them. So I 100% in support of the Honor Flight, always have been. And George, I think you do an excellent job, as well as the entire Rhode Island Fire Chiefs Association. So thank you for that.
I'll second that. Are there any other questions for Mr. Farrell? Seeing none, Mr. Farrell, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate your input.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. And I think that we will switch back now, if we can, to Mr. Craddock. And Representative Geraldo, you can ask him a question. Just give him a second to switch on here. Bud, just let us know when you're on.
Hello?
Oh, Bud, you're back.
Yeah, I've been here. I haven't gone anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Craddock. And
They told me that one at a time to talk.
thank you, Mr. Craddock, and thank you, Chairwoman. Yeah, I just wanted to better understand. So generally, it costs $35,000 to program a license plate into the system. And so in a situation like the Honor Flight, in which it's a $40 cost, 20 goes to the state, 20 goes to the nonprofit. The remainder of the funds that aren't made up are paid by who usually? Is that a cost that we generally eat, or is that a cost that we find another way to pay for?
No, that cost is absorbed by the state, Right now, Mr. Farrell did portray it correctly. It's $40 surcharge for each of these plates. 20 goes to the general fund, and then 20 goes to the charity, and then $10 per year for every renewal goes to the charity. Now, hopefully they sell more than the 600 minimum, and that $40, anything over the 600, just again is split 50-50 between the two organizations, the state and the charity, and then hopefully the charity sells more and we're able to recoup some of our costs that way.
Thank you. I appreciate that explanation.
Okay.
And I will say that
while we have Mr. Craddock back. No?
I was going to say originally
I'm sorry?
Oh, no, I was just going to follow up on that question, that originally the number was 900 as a minimum number of plates, and the charities were having a hard time meeting the 900 minimum sale, and I believe it was either 2 or 3 legislative sessions ago, the number was reduced from 900 down to 600.
Yes, a little bit more attainable. Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Craddock, for clearing that up.
Okay.
Again, I see no more questions. With that, I will close the hearing on House Bill 5183, and that clears our calendar for the evening.
Sheila, can I just for 1 second?
Absolutely, Representative Casey.
I apologize, I had to leave earlier in the meeting. I know we were talking about a designated sticker for plates for certain groups of the armed services, and I'm wondering if it's possible to do something with the honor flight. On the honor flights that I traveled on, each participant received what they call a challenge coin. It's a military-style coin that each branch of the service or each group within branches of the service, like the Army Rangers, Special Forces, that type of thing, they all have some type of a challenge coin. And the honor flight does have their own. Unfortunately, I don't have it with me, but it's essentially the insignia of the honor flight. If you all look at the PowerPoint presentation that was sent, and I'm wondering if it's just possible to, let's allow those honor flight veterans or people who are interested in that type of charity just to get a sticker like that they can put on their plate, such as the other armed services. I don't know if that's if there's a technical issue with that or not, but that could be an option where I understand at this point there's been 650 veterans that have gone on the honor flight. Maybe they would want a plate. A lot of those people have passed on as well, so it's possible that family members or sponsors, what we call the guardians, would like to get a plate. But I think if we use that sticker concept with the Honor Flight Challenge coin logo, that might be a possibility, and might be something that will be cost effective for everyone.
Well, Representative Casey, it sounds like it could be another piece of legislation, or I think Sam is going to do Representative Azzinaro, is going to do a sub A on his first bill regarding that, and that might be something that you might add on to that bill. So
yeah, I can talk to Representative Azzinaro offline about it.
Yes, I would suggest that'd probably be the best thing to do. Again, any other comments or questions?
Madam Chair, the only thing I would suggest is that it would have to be done legislatively because there is limitations on what can be put on the plate, and there's only so much real estate on a plate, so we have to be careful of what stickers, the placement of the stickers, and how much can be put on each individual plate, so that it doesn't obscure the actual alphanumerics.
Okay, all right. So I will leave that for them to discuss with you probably offline and come to some conclusion on that.
I'd be more than happy to.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Mr. Craddock. Representative Lombardi.
It's very quickly, Madam Chair. Thank you. Am I still muted?
Nope, I can hear you.
Okay, so since we have all Democrats in Washington, maybe we can impose on our federal delegation to raise the money for both issues, for the what George Farrell's doing and what we want to do with the there must be monies available to do that kind of stuff. And again, with a multi-trillion-dollar budget, that would be even more de minimis. So just thinking, we're going to do more grant writing and more requesting it. We're going to do more asking when it comes to things like that. They deserve it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
They absolutely do. I think that's something that we can look into. We can certainly ask and find out.
Okay, again, any other questions? No? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Deborah Taylor made a motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye, raise your hands, aye, just in case we need a roll call. All right, then the House Committee on Special Legislation is adjourned. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good evening.